despise Trump and J.D. Vance for how this breaks down, Zelenskyy is an absolute moron. Let's get to the tape. So, to set the stage, I believe this was just supposed to be sort of a photo op, take some questions from the press. Again, something Democrats don't know about because the human vegetable that they all supported and lied about for the past 4 years, Joe Biden, was incapable of taking questions from an adversarial press. But not Trump. He'll sit there in front of a press that wants to talk shit in front of him the whole time. So that's the idea. They're going to sit there and they're going to talk about this. It's going to be Zelenskyy. It's going to be Trump. It's going to be Vance that are going to be sitting there and they're taking these questions. The idea was that there was an agreement for this mineral deal that was on the table, many of the factors to be determined, but there was negotiations that occurred behind the scenes. Now, let's set the stage. Before I talk about what went wrong here from the perspective of Zelenskyy, let's talk about what this is supposed to look like. There's not supposed to be negotiations occurring at this point in front of the cameras. It's, hey, how you doing? Yeah, shaking hands, smiles, photo op, take a couple questions from the press, say a couple things, that's it. Vance, and in particular Trump, were very graceful to Zelenskyy the whole time. Zelenskyy keeps sort of needling the whole time, like, we need a security guarantee and negotiations don't work with Russia, sort of implying those sorts of things. But there's no signs of hostilities between the two parties, really, other than Zelenskyy throwing these little jabs. Finally, a reporter, sounds like from international press, asked Trump this question of, why do you say nice things about Putin? And I'm not sure where this tape's going to begin. I think it'll begin with what I'm about to say. But Trump starts making the claim that I've been making for a long time, that you can't publicly be saying, the guy we're negotiating with is evil. It's okay for Zelenskyy to say Putin's evil. That's clear that that's how they feel. I'm not saying they're wrong. But is the United States that's trying to be sort of a mediator that's like, let's get both sides to the table. If you're saying, and by the way, Zelenskyy's the man and he's great and Russia is evil and we hate Putin, when you call Putin up and you say, hey, let's sit down for a deal, Putin's going to say, hey, we're negotiating from a position of strength. We're winning the war. So no deal. How about that? Trump did this throughout his first term. I said, particularly when it came to strongmen leaders like Putin, he would say nice things about them to placate their ego, but then had aggressive policies against them. Trump was more hawkish against Russia than Obama, probably than any president since Reagan. He was sending Ukraine javelins instead of just blankets like Obama. He was massively increasing exports of oil that would hurt them. He was suggesting putting sanctions on Russian oil, etc. And yet he was still smeared over and over as a puppet of Vladimir Putin. Okay? Now, the important thing to remember then, we're about to start the tape. The important thing to remember is Zelenskyy's coming to the United States, regardless if you might be 100% pro-Ukraine and think that the United States should do everything, even send boots on the ground. I disagree with that, but you may feel that. Okay, you're entitled to that opinion. But no matter what you think, Zelenskyy is begging the United States at this point. His country cannot survive at this point without the financial and munitions aid of the United States. That's a fact. And so, in any negotiation, if you were in the weaker position, you have to eat some shit. You have to be polite and smile and be conciliatory. That's the way it works. The problem with Zelenskyy and much of the Ukraine government for a long time has been, they're not. They're demanding. They'll say, hey, thank you, United States. They'll put out a tweet. But then they're doing things like jailing our citizens like Gonzalo Lira for the crime of free speech. They'll send out their spokespersons like, here's a list of Americans that you were on this list, blah, blah, blah. So even if you despise Trump and J.D. Vance for how this breaks down, Zelenskyy is an absolute moron for breaking the protocol of what normally happens in these negotiations or these photo ops. The negotiation should be behind the scenes. But to then get in front of the cameras and basically say, by the way, Trump and Vance, you're playing shit. What did you think was going to happen? Especially if you're someone that hates Trump and likes Zelenskyy, you probably think Trump's a narcissist. He's a narcissist. Then if you're Zelenskyy and you believe that, why would you play with fire? And I have a reason why he did it. One of the greatest moments of my lifetime when it comes to sort of a president actually standing up for the people of the United States and not being bullied around. The United States doesn't need Ukraine. Ukraine needs the United States. And look at how this interaction goes. So I'll stop it when I see fit, but let's begin.
It's involved, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for that?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have.
Let me see if I get up the volume here. No. Low volume here. I apologize for that, but
A deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America, and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes.
now what he said here is absolutely true. And again, this is a hostile press, something that Biden would never be able to do. They're basically like, yeah, but Trump, you say nice things about Putin. What's up with that? Now, from the perspective of Zelensky, yeah, Zelensky, someone's saying, well, Zelensky just wants a security guarantee. No shit. Zelensky probably also wants billions of dollars in cocaine and a new yacht. And he's coming at the negotiations from the position of weakness. He offers nothing to the United States. He can't go to the bargaining table with Russia by himself because Russia is winning the war. And Zelensky is relying on foreign powers to stay in the fight. So Zelensky's not going to get everything he wants from Russia. He's not going to get everything he wants from the United States. He's not going to get everything he wants from Europe just because. But I understand it from Zelensky's perspective. Zelensky, let's assume the best motivations of Zelensky. He wants all of this stuff for his people. Okay, but this isn't the time to bring it up. So far, Zelensky's done nothing wrong, by the way. But this reporter, just like we see so many reporters in the US media, is offering a sort of hostile toned question. Well, what about the nice things you say to Putin? And Trump says the right thing. What do you want me to do? Talk trash on Putin today and then tomorrow call him up and say, hey, buddy, let's talk peace. It doesn't work that way. I'm not on Putin's side. I'm not on Zelensky's side. I'm on the American side. I'm on the world side. I'm on Europe's side. I want to get this thing ended. And yeah, I understand the way Zelensky talks about Putin, that's not going to help if I talk like that in negotiations. And let's be clear, Putin doesn't particularly like Zelensky either. Absolutely true. All of that is true. Now, I understand if Zelensky's not a fan of that, but that's not hostile to Zelensky. That's offering up an answer to the press that just asked a pseudo-hostile but appropriate question to Trump. Let's continue.
One more question.
I will respond to this.
So also, I think it's amazing that Vance has the confidence to then speak up, and Trump's like, sure, man, go for it. He has the trust in Vance to go ahead and speak up here. So Vance is going to speak up.
Look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Absolutely. And Vance piggybacks off Trump. Absolutely true. Right? We had the guy that called Putin names. We had the party there that talked tough against Putin. We had that with Obama. How did that work out? Well, during Obama in 2014, Russia invaded. Then he didn't during Trump. And then during Biden, he invaded. That's despite the tough talk. And so JD Vance is like, basically the question's like, why don't you say mean things about Putin? And JD Vance is like, look, we need to grow up. Saying mean things accomplishes nothing. What we need to do is have diplomacy, is sit down and talk. Actions are more important than just saying mean words. Absolutely true. None of that is an insult to Zelensky. None of it. Nothing said either by Trump or Vance there is an insult to Zelensky. None of it. It was a question from the press, which I think is fine to ask, but it certainly has a hostile tone or a negative connotation. Why did you say nice things about Putin? And it's actually great answers. Both Vance and Trump give good answers to that. Now let's see where this goes. Now, traditionally, that would be it. The press would ask, they're on the last question. Trump's ready to take a last question. So for all those saying, this was Trump and Vance setting up Zelensky, you can see right there organically, Trump's like, okay, last question. Vance says something. All Zelensky has to do at this point, say nothing. All he has to do is not say a word. The press asked Trump a question. Trump answered. Vance chimed in with an answer. Okay, last question. But Zelensky's got to chime in here. So let's see how this goes.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
America, a good country, is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
So now, very strangely, Zelensky's like, can I ask you a question? To the vice president. Now look at Trump. You can see Trump's face is like, what are you doing? What? Because basically, Zelensky now, perceptually right now, is what's occurring is he's taking the position of the interrogator or the questioner, like the person who just asked this question to Trump. So it was asked, why did you say nice things about Putin? They give their answer. And then Zelensky's like, wait a minute, I want to ask you about that. So you can tell already Trump's like, okay, let's see where this goes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, parts of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So and during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people are been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broke.
Can you see how exasperated Trump is? Now, for those of you that don't get what's happening is Zelensky's making the argument, negotiations won't work. In other words, your plan won't work, Vice President and Mr. President. It won't work. That's what he's doing. Now, it's fine to say this behind the scenes in a negotiation, but to behind the scenes agree to the deal that the United States is putting on the table and then getting in front of the press and basically then publicly calling out at this photo op, Trump and Vance here, is one of the dumbest diplomatic moves I've ever seen from a person leading a country that's coming to the United States hat in hand. And you can already see that Trump's like,
In this ceasefire, he killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What?
Did you hear what he just said there? And I think that this is what really sets him off. He said, what kind of diplomacy, JD? Excuse me, Zelensky. To you, that's not JD. That's the fucking Vice President of the United States of America. Fuck you, JD. Fuck off. How dare you? How dare you agree to something in private and then go to a sycophantic press in front of the public where you think everyone that's kissed your ass for your fucking stupidity and arrogance for the past how many years is going to continue to jerk you off and talk you up to the American people so that they'll buy the propaganda that you're somehow an effective leader. Fuck you, you coward. Wait until you're in front of your friends in the media that you think will cover for you, and then start criticizing people in public that you don't have the balls to do behind the scenes where the negotiations are actually occurring. Kick Nostandis says, base Zelensky. We'll see how based, baby. They getting that deal now, Kick? Based. Hey, great. I'm glad you think it's based. Zelensky's arrogance fucks over the people of the Ukraine. Based. Based, says to the Zelensky sycophants. Now, again, for those of you that don't like Trump and you think Trump's an asshole and it's all his fault, blah, 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 why would Zelensky do this? Why would he do this? The only possible, one, it's just sheer stupidity and arrogance. But what I think that's certainly a large part of it. But the other part of it is he expects Trump and Vance to be meek and eat shit and just go, well, I don't know, we're going to try our best. And then the press to go, oh, look, Zelensky just bitched out Trump and Vance. Yeah, Trump and Vance don't have a plan. He didn't have a negotiating position behind the scenes. The only negotiating advantage that Zelensky has is the propaganda that has been so effective in the United States and Europe. That's his only advantage. Well, that's not going to work so well behind the scenes, but when you get in front of the cameras, now it'll work. Or at least you think it will. We'll see how that goes. So Zelensky, just to recap, this is what just happened. 30 minutes, they agreed to sign this deal behind the scenes. We're literally at the last question. Reporter asks, why do you say nice things about Putin? Both Trump and Vance give a very sensible answer. Look, just beating our chests and saying mean things about Putin. That's what happened the last 4 years. What has that led to? Death of Ukraine being invaded. We're going to try a different tactic of negotiation. And if we start saying mean shit about Putin, it's going to make negotiations less likely to be successful. All perfectly true. Zelensky then chimes in and decides he's going to criticize this deal in public now. Well, how's there going to be negotiations? We've had them in the past. It didn't work. He calls the vice president JD as he's criticizing what Vance just said and the deal that they're offering. No doubt he did not expect Vance's retort here.
What do you mean?
I'm talking
Do you have more? What do you mean?
about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine?
JD Vance is absolutely right. Incredibly disrespectful. You should be thankful to America and the American people. But Rob, Zelensky's posted on X several times before, and he said in press conference that he thanks the United States. Yeah, well, he's not thanking Vance and Trump and the United States here when he's criticizing publicly and about their plan as opposed to behind the scenes in negotiations. But he had to do it. The deal was done, but he had to do it. He had to call them out. So Vance correctly is like, I think this is extremely disrespectful. Then he says, you literally are having to force your own people to fight in this war. You have conscription gangs running around, pressing people into service. That's how low on manpower you are. Now, Zelensky at this point could back off, but he's going to double down with the same type of rhetoric he's used anytime someone's questioned.
That you say what problems we have.
Have you been to Ukraine? That's always his answer. Have you been there? Why don't you come there? Well, go where in Ukraine? We'll see how JD Vance answers this.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems?
Now remember, the criticism that Vance offered here was you're conscripting people. Zelensky doesn't respond to that. He doesn't say that's not true. If the war is so popular there, when I debate people like Connor, what do they say? This is what the Ukrainian people want. Well, clearly not all of them. If hundreds of thousands are being forced into service. So instead of responding to that like they never do, Zelensky's like, why don't you come to Ukraine before you talk about our problems? Now they're having a full-on debate. And Vance says, I've seen the people that go to trips on Ukraine. You offer them propaganda tours. Are you really saying that you're not conscripting people? You're not having these problems?
Bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's
I
respectful
will answer.
to come to the Oval Office
I
of
will
the United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
Excellent point. So then Vance says, and also, do you think this is good form? Do you think it's good to come here and criticize us? And behind the scenes, you're not criticizing, but you're agreeing to the deal. But now you come publicly and you're going to criticize us publicly? You think that's a good idea? You think that's respectful when you're relying on us for your existence?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean. and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future.
What is that? Well, everybody has problems. So again, he doesn't say, yeah, things are going bad. We're having to conscript people, and we're very thankful for your help. He says everybody has problems, even you. You have a big ocean, but trust me, you're going to feel more problems soon. Now, what he's saying here is that Russia will screw you over too eventually in your country, which is laughable horseshit. Maybe you could make this argument to the European NATO countries. Though there's no, if Russia struggled so mightily against Ukraine, how the hell are they getting into France or the UK? But again, it comes across as like arrogant and sort of threatening. Oh yeah, well you're gonna have problems soon too. What the fuck is he thinking? The other thing is, he's used to hand puppets like Biden. He's used to spineless people who go, you're right. Whatever we can do, tell us what to do, Mr. Zelensky. Tell us what to do, President. That's what he's used to. He's not used to a fucking man like J.D. Vance saying, how dare you come in here? How dare you not address me as vice president? How dare you, behind the scenes, agree to a deal, then come out here when your asshole friends in the media, propagandists for you, are here. So it's just like, have you ever seen these assholes in real life? One-on-one, you see them, you're like, you talking shit to me? Oh, no, I didn't say anything. Then as soon as they're with their buddies, all of a sudden they puff their chest out. What an arrogant, snot-nosed, stupid son of a bitch. He, like most of the rest of the world and our allies, is used to the American president bending over for them. They're not used to a president and vice president that actually give a shit about the American people. And are going to say, we're not going to be disrespected and take your bullshit. What are we getting from our relationship with you? I'll tell you what we got. An American citizen named Gonzalo Lira jailed for fucking free speech and then dying in prison. Well, this arrogant piece of shit's never answered once for it. That should have been the day that these motherfuckers didn't get one more dime. I don't give a shit what you think of Gonzalo Lira. I'm tired of the average American, the middle class and the working class being told over and over again that they have to sacrifice, that their wishes come last. Fuck you. And it's nice to have a president that's willing to say, I'm here for America. This is one of the proudest moments I've seen in the Trump administration. Everyone will admit this is a unique situation. I've been alive 40 years. I've been following politics, maybe 20 of them. I've never seen a press conference like this where the American leader stood up and said, know your fucking place. And by the way, it's starting to become a pattern and a good one. When J.D. Vance, in a respectful way, just went to Europe and told them as our allies it's shameful what they do with things like free speech. All those piece of shit lefties that laughed about Gonzalo Lira, I don't think it's a big deal. He's a bad guy. I don't give a shit. Screw Coach Red Pill. Zelensky's a boss. I'm glad he's mocking Trump. I'm glad it's... How you feeling today? Mean guy Trump. He's still mean. Vance and Trump are too mean. I'm ashamed to be an American. You're ashamed to be an American. Well, I tell you what you could all do. I don't know if you knew this, but Ukraine is not only conscripting their own men into service to fight in this meat grinder of a war, but did you know they're also accepting soldiers from foreign countries? That's right, all of you assholes that are ashamed to be American today because you want that meat grinder of a war to continue. Why don't you get in a fucking plane and go over and fight yourself, asshole? Oh, that's right. You don't really give a shit. You're just happy to virtue signal while the men of Ukraine are conscripted into the service and dying by the tens of thousands. Who gives a shit if they die as long as you could feel like a cool, tough guy? Now's your chance. You're ashamed of America. Go show them what America's all about, baby. Let's continue.
God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate.
Now, by the way, notice how he tried to be, his posture with Trump's much different than his posture with Vance, isn't it? With Vance, he's like confrontational. Then once he hears Big Daddy step in and go, no, you don't tell us what we're going to feel. Oh, I'm not. Right. Uh-oh, says Zelensky. I just stepped in it. That picture says it all right there. Look at that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing.
we're not playing cards. And Trump's right. Yeah, you are. You're not in a position to make demands of us. You're not in a position to disrespect us. You're not in a position to say publicly different things than you're saying privately when it comes to these negotiations. Now all of a sudden, oh, well, no, I'm not trying to dictate. Oh, we're not playing cards. Again, more of this, oh, it's not cards. How dare you say something like this is cards? And Trump's going to tell him why it is cards.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling.
That's right. That's what we're on the precipice of. We're closer to World War III today than we have been in any time since the Cold War. So let's watch Trump show Zelensky who the big man really is.
With World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire
today.
meeting, have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States.
That's right. He did. Now put yourself in Trump's position. The last time that he talked with Zelensky on the phone, he got fucking impeached for it. Why? Because Zelensky is in a government that accepted a quid pro quo from Vice President Biden to fire a prosecutor in their own country that was investigating the company that the Vice President of the United States' son was on the board of directors of. And they caved in. Why? Because they were a vassal state of the United States and the Obama-Biden administration. So they had to listen. So when Trump tries to get to the bottom of it, it leads to an impeachment. And what's Zelensky saying? Not a goddamn thing. Then he campaigns for the Democrats in my state of Pennsylvania weeks before the election.
Of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking.
There he is. Please. You think you speak loudly. Notice again how his tone to Vance is different. He thinks he can, please, you think because you speak loudly. And Trump immediately is like, no. That's one of the great things about this is how much Trump trusts J.D. Vance to speak his mind and how on a team they are. Don't you talk shit to my vice president. And kudos to Vance for not being like most vice presidents and just sitting there meekly and not speaking up. He's right. You campaigned against our opponents. Now you publicly come in here and disrespect us as opposed to saying, thank you. What can I do to help you? Thank you so much for saving my country. Instead, you disrespect us?
Loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country
That's right. Shut your mouth. You've said enough.
is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
We've been alone. They haven't. If they were alone, it would have been over 2 years ago.
Gave you through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about you
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak-
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
There, you see him downplaying it? We would have lost in 3 days. Okay, big man. If Trump's wrong about that, then good luck. Good luck with that. You're right, Zelensky. Oh, I've heard it all. We would have lost if we didn't have your military equipment. Fair enough. Good luck. Good luck. This has been the story with the Ukraine war sycophants the entire time. How many times have I done this? This is... Russia sucks, man. They thought they were just going to come in and they were going to destroy Ukraine. They found out the hard way. They're getting their ass kicked, man. They're getting their ass kicked. It's all over, man. It's over. It's all over but the crying. Ukraine has just handed Russia their ass. Please, please send more money to Ukraine. If we don't send more money, they're going to invade Poland. And then they'll invade the UK and they'll cross the ocean and they'll be in the United States and you'll all be speaking Russian. Please, please, we must have more money. It's over. Russia ain't shit, dog. We took their ass out. No big deal. It's always the case. They speak out of both sides of their mouth. On one hand, we didn't need your help. Yeah, we heard it all. We would have lost in 3 days without your help. Oh, yeah, sure, okay. Okay, fuckhead, then you don't get our help. Wait. No, we need your help. We need it. We're sorry.
This is something
Maybe
new
less.
in 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say
That's right. And that's a line that I think people are missing the importance of. Trump saying, we can't do business like this. With people that are going to come in, talk behind the scenes one way, and then publicly come out and disrespect us and criticize us. We can't do business like this. Again, I can't stress enough, even if you hate Trump and you think, no, he should be like Biden and give Zelensky everything and more that he asked for. Why is Zelensky being this confrontational, disrespectful, and stupid?
thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that.
That's right. If you have disagreements, let's go behind the scenes and litigate the disagreements. You don't come out here in front of the American media and talk shit. That's exactly right. You have disagreements, we go behind the scenes, we talk like men, we talk like world leaders, we hash out the disagreements, we try to come to a plan. If we can't come to a plan, we'll come out and say we were unable to reach an agreement.
You're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
Now, by the way, even now, those people that are like, Zelensky's a boss, does he sound like a boss there? I am thankful. Does that sound like a boss? Does he look like a boss when Trump's posturing up, pointing at him, touching his arm and shit, saying like, no, you've had your chance to talk? Does he look like a boss there? Or does he look like a guy that's now trying to eat a shit sandwich because his big mouth got him in trouble? If he's really a big man, he would say, you don't have to tell me I'll be thankful. I don't have to listen to you. That's what a big man would say, right?
You're running low on soldiers. Listen,
please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying
said-
you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire.
guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
is
with me.
changed. It
That was with
wasn't with
a
you.
guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets.
By the way, who did they campaign for? Who did Zelensky campaign for? Oh, that's right, the Democrats. Trump's right. You get a ceasefire. If you could do it today, you get it. Zelensky's like, but I want security guarantees. Trump says, but you'll get the ceasefire quicker than you'll get those sorts of negotiations. Take the ceasefire now. Stop the bullets now. Then we'll work out what we could do in the future. You're not getting the guarantee that you want. You're not in a position to negotiate like that. Your people are dying. You're forcing them into service. And Trump's right. I think it's good that the American people see this, because behind the scenes, what he's implying here is we're like, let's do what we can to get a ceasefire. And Zelensky's like, no, I don't want that. I want all of these demands to be met before a ceasefire. You're not negotiating from a position of strength. You could say that if you're winning. You could say that if you're not the country that's coming hat in hand around the world begging for their help because you'll lose without it. I have demands before a ceasefire. Fuck you. Take your demands and shove them up your ass then. Meanwhile, it's terrible that the Ukrainian people have to be conscripted in service because of your arrogance. So Trump's right. I'm glad the American people get to see this. I'm glad. This is what it's like negotiating with this guy.
In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question, Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that it's included in the fiction right
What are you
now.
saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
Well, what if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden, because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And
That's right, by the way. When you want to talk about provocations, remember when you had Democratic senators saying it was an act of war that Russia colluded with Trump to help Trump win the election? All bullshit. Put yourself in Trump's position. You were smeared as being pro-Putin for 4 years. Now you're being smeared again because you're trying to save lives, not just in Russia, but also in Ukraine, and negotiate a peaceful resolution. And by the way, a resolution that's best for the people of the United States. And once more, they're going back to that same wheelhouse that they lied to you about for 4 years, that you're pro-Putin, that you're pro-Russia, that you're colluding with Russians. Same fucking playbook, same wheelhouse from the same people that never apologized, that gave themselves Pulitzers and patted themselves on the back for how great they were for spreading those bullshit lies. There was collusion with Russians. It was the DNC and Hillary Clinton that colluded with the suspected Russian spy named Igor Dushenko. That happened. But what if Russia doesn't adhere to the ceasefire? Then what? Okay, so then what? No ceasefire ever? What? Okay, then what's your suggestion? Boots on the ground? Trillions more to Ukraine? If you're Trump, you have to be tired of this shit. I know I am, and I haven't been the target of it like Trump. All of the corruption that was going on with the Obama-Biden administration in Ukraine, with the Bidens raking in so much money for corrupt pro-Russian oligarchs. And Trump's like, what did I do? First 4 years I'm there, I give you all the weapons and shit you want. Something that the previous Democratic administration wasn't willing to do. There wasn't an invasion. Then the next guy comes in, all the media's like, oh, good, the next guy's great. He's saying how evil Putin is. Oh, he's great. Oh, look at that, Putin invaded. See? Now we got to send all this money. Yep, got to keep doing it. Trump comes in and says, we're tired of these people dying. We need to have a peaceful resolution. We're tired of financing it. Right back to the same way. But what if they don't listen? No criticism for the Biden administration. No criticism for the Obama administration.
And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out.
That's right. Here's the deal. On our terms, there's going to be a ceasefire and a peaceful resolution. If you don't like that deal, that's fine. You're welcome to go fight. Good luck to you. I don't think it'll end well. Absolutely right in what I've been saying for years. What have I been saying all month? You had all these European leaders, oh, we'll step in. The UK says, we'll send soldiers. If the United States stops, Zelensky and yes, Europe says they'll back us. It'll be fine. Then let them. Good. A win-win. Great. Europe will step in. They'll save Ukraine. Ukraine will be great. No problem. I even said, if that's true, if that's what Zelensky thinks, why is he even considering this mineral deal? At that point, if Zelensky's like, we don't need the United States, Europe's just as capable and they're going to step in, then why sign over potentially $200 billion of your mineral rights to the United States? That's just throwing away money at that point, right? Yeah, there's your based. Where's that guy earlier was saying Zelensky based? He looks based there, doesn't he? Look how based he looks. I'm not being harsh to our Ukrainian allies, brother. I'm being harsh to the leadership of Ukraine, which, by the way, has been one of the most corrupt countries since the fall of the Soviet Union. The people of Ukraine are incredibly brave, and I hope that they win today. The United States shouldn't be sending money, and this arrogant prick shouldn't be coming and being disrespectful in this manner to our president and vice president. He should be thankful to them and the American people that elected them.
But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right, we'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thanks.
See, look, go back here. Oh, man, Zelensky's a Chad. Yeah, he really showed J.D. Vance. Yeah, look at that picture. Doesn't that sum it up? HN says, not everyone voted for Trump and Vance. We can't just allow the Ukrainians to be genocided. I agree, HN. Hey, did you know that they're taking volunteers? Head on over, HN. You're right. You can't just allow that genocide to occur. Head on over. By the way, on your way there, why don't you stop in Libya, where NATO executed Gaddafi, and help those people that are in open-air slave markets? While you're at it, we can't just leave them be genocided as well, right? Or can you? Trump's like legitimately disappointed. You can see it there. Trump's legitimately like, what the fuck? Because remember, Trump did run on ending this war. And I think Trump sees, and that's why he said, you know what? I'm glad that the American people get to see this. I think Trump's tired. He's like, listen, here's the fucking deal. You two kids are going to sit down at the table and you're going to negotiate. But Mom, my brother was the big asshole. Yeah, whatever. I'm not picking sides, just negotiate. We're getting the deal done. And Zelensky's like, we demand more, we demand more, we demand more. And so Trump's team behind the scenes is like, listen, this is what we're going to work out. Until eventually Zelensky's like, okay. And then what's he do? Runs to the photo op and talks shit on our president and vice president. JD, let me ask you a question. JD, fuck you.